So I talked about this a little bit before, but one of the reasons I think most people just fail from the start is because they don't actually put their music on all the places that people listen to music. A lot of people just push their music on SoundCloud, and some people have even seen marketing as like exclusive to SoundCloud, and it's like, don't do that. It's kind of a bad idea. Hey everyone, Andrew Southwards at NeverStudios.com, here to teach you how to make better music and help you achieve your musical goals. So in this video, just to be upfront, sponsored by DistroKid, which actually I was super excited when they reached out to me to sponsor a video, because I've used DistroKid to release all of my music, aside from like one or two singles that went through a label type of release, so I don't actually know what they use. They could have also used DistroKid. But I used DistroKid to release all my music, and initially when I was starting, I picked DistroKid because I believed it offered the best bang for your buck. A lot of other distributors have different models. For example, I think it's CD Baby or TuneCore. They actually charge you per release, so a single might cost you $7.95 to put up, and they also will take like 9% of your profits. And TuneCore I think is even more expensive. You might pay like $10-15 a song, or like $20-30 $40 an album. I don't know the exact numbers for them because I don't use them, but the nice thing about DistroKid is you pay just straight up $19.99 per year, and you can release unlimited music from one artist account. And they even have these different plans. So for example, maybe you have your main music and then you have like a different artist name you use. You can add more artist slots, so it's not like $19.99 per artist slot. It gives you a little bit of a discount per artist slot as you expand your plan, which is what I do because I release music under like 5 or 6 different accounts. First of all, what is a music distributor? Well, as I mentioned in the intro, a lot of people are just releasing the music on these free platforms like SoundCloud or even Bandcamp, which are great. You should put your music on those places, but you have to make sure that you also have your music on like Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, even Amazon Music, Google Music, all these different places, because that's where people actually go and listen to music. A lot of SoundCloud is just other artists. I would be willing to bet that more than half of the audience is straight up artists. And a music distributor is a business that actually gets your music and sends it to these stores, because you can't just contact iTunes directly, as a small independent artist and say, hey, I want to release my music directly through you. They're going to be like, go to a distributor. And as far as ones that exist, there's DistroKid, there's TuneCore, and there's CD Baby, and there's dozens of other ones, all with different pricing schemes. But as I mentioned, DistroKid is I think the best place for you to go, and again is what I use. So I want to show you what DistroKid actually looks like and how it works, because there's a couple other perks aside from the fact that it's what I think the best value. It gets your music into Spotify and I think also iTunes faster than any other store. It can be as fast as like 2 days, which is incredible. And they're the only music distributor that can actually get your music in TikTok at the moment. At least at this, what is it? It is October 2019. So at this moment, they're the only one that can do TikTok. And they also do Instagram and Facebook. So if you go in Instagram stories, you can actually look up Andrew Southworth and add my music to your Instagram story, which is sweet. So let's just dive into the screen. This is the main view of DistroKid. This is the My Music section. So here you just see all the releases that I've used. And while I do have the label account, so I do have other artists in here, it looks pretty much exactly the same. There's only a few difference in features between the straight up regular artist account and the label account. But for $19.99, you could release this quantity of music under one artist in a year. And even just starting in 2019, I'll scroll down. This song is my first release of 2019. So if I just look at my one Andrew Southworth artist, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So there's actually 15 that have come out so far in 2019. And then this is a single that's actually coming out October 18th. And this is an album that's coming out October 25th, which is my brand new album. Also, surprise, I have a brand new album coming out October 25th. So it's awesome. For just $19.99, you could release all this music and more, and limited. Now, just to be upfront with how it works, if you do stop paying, your music will not stay up in the stores. But if you do the math out, even if you keep it for 10 years, you're paying less than $200 to have your music on, which is just insane. 10 years. So you could easily just get this for the rest of your life, and it's not really going to harm you. Now, if you do want to put your music online permanently, like let's say the single that I came out with last week, I could go down and just leave a legacy thing, and for $30 I can make it stay permanently. But for an album, it's actually pretty good. Like $50 for a permanent lifetime record of an album. That's on par with what all the other music distributors that do that kind of rate charge, and I think that's like perfect. Now, in my circumstance, I never actually do that because it's so cheap that I could just keep this for the rest of my life and not really care about it. Like if you spend $5 a week on Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts or whatever, that's way more than you're going to spend on DistroKid a year. So cut out one coffee a week, you're good for the rest of your life. So that's all I have to say on that. So this is the pricing scheme the DistroKid offers. As I mentioned, the $19.99 per year account, the musician plan, is for one artist or band name, unlimited songs, unlimited lyrics, Spotify verified checkmark for one artist or band. So if you don't have your music on the stores, it's like a no-brainer. Like $20 a year, even if you have it for 10 years, that's only $200. And it's like you can have your music on every single store where people might want it for less than a price of like one coffee per month. Like $3 coffee, if you only get one coffee per month, that's $36 a year. So that's how cheap this thing is. Now, even for the Musician Plus account, it's only $36 per year. Basically, as you go up these, you get more artist slots. So for this, you get 2 artist slots for a 10% discount on a per artist basis. If you have a lot of different projects, like for example, I have my own music, I have my Code Talker project, I have A Rare Design, Feeding the Ghost, Murder Night, and Linear Focus. So I have the label account. And you can even do higher than that. They allow you to just pick, again, there's a 5 artist plan, a 10 artist plan, all the way up to 100 artist plans. And these upgrades give you more than just the artist or bands. You can also get the daily sales stats. You get the customizable label name, customizable release date. I don't know exactly how that factors in. When I started at a label plan, pre-order date, and customizable iTunes pricing. So keep that in mind as we go through the rest of this video. If I mention some features, there are differences in each of these plans, but they're all super affordable. Just keep in mind what you need. If you have if you're just like a singular artist, I would just get this and you're probably fine. But if you have like some extra cash, again, this is still only $36 a year. You might just want to get the Musician Plus account because it's just so cheap. And then later on, if you get a second artist account, you already have it there. So, it's totally up to you. But when I started, I just went straight for the label because I had so many bands that I wanted to get on the store. So I just jumped the gun and went right for it. And even still, this is cheaper than getting like 2 coffees a month. And I really get probably 30 coffees per month. So yeah. I want to walk you through how you would actually submit a release on DistroKid to show you how easy it is. All you do is you click upload. And then from here, you just select what stores you want. I just do all the stores, and it's essentially every place you'd want: Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, TikTok, Google Play, Amazon, Pandora, Deezer, Tidal, Napster, iHeartRadio, Claro, Musica, Savan, Eggnami, KKBox, MediaNet, and 150 other things that you can go and explore. So a ton of stores. Now you just select the number of songs you have. One song could be single. And then pick however many songs on your release, all the way up to 35 songs. If you're doing a new song, you click no for previous released. This would be under Andrew Southworth, but you can type in whatever your artist is. If you already have music in Apple Music and Spotify, it's going to say like you're all set. This release will appear alongside your other releases. If I type in like Andrew Southworth 35 or whatever, it's going to say you'd be the first artist. And it's actually kind of a little like band name test tool, because if you say, I want to name my new band like the Chariot Monster or whatever, you'll be the first artist. But if you want to name your band like Perspective, it's gonna tell you these are all these artists and pick which one that you are. So if you have an artist name that's potentially kind of common, it allows you to discriminate against which ones are you and which ones are not you. Now then you just pick your, let me put my name back in here. Then you just pick your release date, and, let's just say it's October 20th. You pick the release time. You can say if you want it to be live in the listener's time zone or in like your time zone, for example. You can allow a pre-order, and if you do that, it'll let you just pick the pre-order start date, October 7th. I don't actually have a release that I'm uploading with this, so I'm not going to upload an image, but here you just drag in your album artwork. It's very easy. I usually just do like a 2000 by 2000 or 3000 by 3000 JPEG file. The reason is they want it so big is because they want it to be high quality. A lot of stores will display it like this super small thing, but a lot of times you can actually blow it up. So they want to make sure that it's as good of a quality as you can get. You just pick your genres. This is not all-encompassing, but it doesn't really matter. It's based off of the way that like iTunes and Spotify classify music. It's pretty easy if you're something like rock, because it's like whatever. You will find issues, and this isn't like about DistroKid. It's kind of just about music distributors in general with electronic music, just because there's so many subgenres in electronic music that you might have trouble finding, like, I don't know, let's say you're a future bass artist or something. There isn't a future bass option. So you're going to have to think like, well, is my music like chill out? Is it like electro house or progressive house? So it can be a little tricky. This is just kind of like how electronic music is. And then if it gets into classical music, it's iTunes and Apple Music will straight up like reject you. And that's not a DistroKid thing. That is a like an iTunes thing. So there's just a little to explain how that works if you're wondering about that. Now here you just write out your tracks. You have multiple tracks. You'll fill this information for each track. I'm just going to call this YouTube. Not even going to worry about spelling it right. It automatically fixes and formats some things. This is due to the way that stores prefer their music to be titled. They don't like weird capitalization. So if I type in like potato, it's going to automatically capitalize. And if I try to do like potato, it's going to automatically bring it to the standard capitalization. I think there's a way to get around it. If you look it up in the DistroKid help area, you can type in like formatting text, and there's a couple articles that explain how you can do weirder things. I think with songs, it's pretty locked down. But if your artist name is weird, there's ways where you can get around that, and then it'll just take longer to approve it. And then once you're in kind of deal. So next, you upload your audio file. If you already have an ISRC code, for example, if you're releasing an album and you have the singles that are part of an album, you might want to, well, you definitely do want to have those singles have the same ISRC code so that the streams and all the records of your singles count towards that on the album. Now, I don't recall if that feature is limited to the label plan. I think it is. I'll put a thing on the screen correcting myself. But it's a cool feature. So if you have multiple artists or other reasons to do one of the higher plans, that might be a good reason for you. You do have to enter in your name. I usually just do Andrew Southworth. This is for if your artist is like DJ Funky 17 or whatever. They like to know who's the actual songwriter, and they even give you an explanation as for why, and I believe it just comes down to a rights thing and a tracking kind of thing. If you have explicit lyrics, you can mark it so that when it shows up on iTunes or Spotify, it'll mark it like as explicit. This is just to keep places safe for people who shouldn't hear that stuff, I guess. Whatever. Every store does this. Is this a radio edit? You can mark it. Instrumental. I don't know what this actually does. I'm guessing it has to do with the way the stores classify music. A lot of people that like instrumental music love instrumental music. A lot of people a lot of people hate instrumental music, and so they never want to hear something that's instrumental. So I'm guessing stores do something funky with how that's classified. In terms of pricing, you can set between 3 prices for a song. If I go up and I change this to like 21 song album, you can see you fill in all the information on a per song basis. And actually, I'm trying to remember where it is. I believe it's the top. You select your album price. So depending on the number of songs and the pricing per song, like let's say for example, if you set like $14.99 and you only had like 7 songs and they were only $1, it's not going to let you do that. You'll let you put it in, but it'll use the sum of the tracks as like the lower price, because why would you have it so that like if you could only spend $7 buying all the songs separately and then you're paying $14 buying the whole album? It wouldn't really make sense. So after you fill in however many songs you have, you get to the end And from here, you select if you want to put on Instagram and Facebook, which is a free feature, so you might as well do it. You can do the YouTube money thing if you want to have them automatically Content ID track your music and get you paid for it. I never do this because I believe that I'd rather have someone promote my music and use it, and if they're doing it in a way that I don't agree with, I'll contact them directly and sue them, I guess. Or deal with it then and add the YouTube money thing then, because I do own the rights, so I can control however it's distributed. Store Maximizer, you can have them automatically add your music to stores when new stores are added. You can do Shazam and Siri identification, and you can do the Leave a Legacy thing where your album stays on forever. Then you just have to agree to some legal rights things, like I selected YouTube Music, so you don't get surprised when you see your music on YouTube when you didn't upload it yourself. That you own the rights, that you're not using someone else's name, and you've agreed to the terms of service. And then when you click done, it's just going to upload everything, which can take a while if it's a big album, and then it's going to go through the approval process. So DistroKid has an internal approval process where they process your artwork and just make sure that it's formatted correctly, the right file size, all these little details. And the same with the music. So if there's any issues with your files or anything, it's going to tell you ahead of time and reject it, and then allow you to go in and re-upload assets to fix it. All right, so this camera is dying, so I'm going to switch to the screencast for the rest of this video because I'm only showing you stuff on the screen anyways, so let's do that. All right, so the camera is off. This is the settings page of DistroKid. So here you have all your typical things like account, credit card, receipts. They do have a referral program. Just to let you know, if you go into the description, I do have a referral code, a referral link, where if you go, you'll get 7% off and I'll get $5. So it's a great way of supporting this channel and giving yourself 7% off of DistroKid. And the great thing is that every person that gets an account at DistroKid actually gets the ability to generate referral links. I'm not sure if this is just limited to a certain plan that I have, or if this is for every plan, but I'll correct myself on screen if I'm wrong. But it's a cool way to make some extra cash and help some people out, because I genuinely believe the DistroKid is the best option. So I feel like that by sharing it, I'm doing them a favor. And I wouldn't be saying that if I didn't believe it. And I showed you I do all my music through DistroKid. So again, highly recommend them. Even if you don't use my referral code, do whatever. Go sign up without using my code. If you don't want to support me, that's fine. Now, if you can also do other things in here. For example, they have this cool thing called hyperfollow. Every time you upload music, it generates you a hyperfollow link. So this is an example of what happens to a release that's already been released. It generates you a page like this, where wherever you share this link, the person can send you a message. It'll link it to all the stores that it's actually linked to. And then also the cool thing is that when someone clicks on the Spotify, it actually gives you the email address associated with the Spotify account. So if you're trying to build your mailing list, it is a cool way to do that. Now on the flip side, if your song isn't released yet, for example, this single doesn't come out till October 18th, what it's going to do is it's going to still have that Talk to Me thing, show you the album artwork. This is great, right? When I made this, it was just for fun. And then I was just so hyped over it. I was like, I have to just make this the single artwork for the song. So it's the single artwork for the song. But the cool thing is, it says that it's available October 18th. Someone clicks this, it'll allow them to pre-save it on Spotify. So the day it comes out, they'll get a notification that says, hey, check out this song. You pre-saved it. It's out now. And then also it gives you the email address associated with that Spotify account, which can be great. So now I'm going to show you the bank section of this, which is kind of just like the income section, I guess. I'm not really worried about you seeing my actual music earnings because I don't care. I guess. So, so far in DistroKid, I've made $143.44. Now, the interesting thing about stores, and this isn't a DistroKid thing, this is like a Spotify and iTunes thing, is they're typically on a 3-month reporting delay to the distributors. So, things are a little bit delayed, and keep that in mind when you're going to sign up. A lot of people might think oh, I'm going to make money right away. Even if you're an established artist that isn't on these places, you're not going to get paid for 3 months, and that's not a DistroKid thing. That's the case with any distributor. But you can actually see the breakdown. So this is for everything from the past year aside from the last 3 months. Most of it has been actually this year, just because I didn't really promote my music much until 2019. iTunes have only made $1. Apple Music $3, and Spotify over $100, which is crazy because Spotify is a streaming service. But my highest income places are streaming services: Apple Music, Spotify, and Deezer. And no one well, not, I shouldn't say no one, but very few people actually want to buy downloaded music, because if they have Spotify, why the hell would they get music? So there are people that don't have Spotify, which is why it's a good thing to be on those places too. But, you know, that's just kind of how the breakdown works. But they are very clear on how this money comes in. You know, they're down to like the penny here, but you can see excruciating detail. And you can actually go in and get super nitpicky and actually see on like a per stream basis the money you're making. So I can go in and I can say I would just want to see, like, I don't know, April 2019. I only want to see myself. You can pick a certain release, and let's just do like Spotify and display. So this is an example of the excruciating detail page for Spotify for my music in April 2019. You can see how things are broken down on like a per stream basis. For whatever country this is, this was 0.2 cents per stream. And then the United States, it can be anywhere from like 0.5 penny per stream down to like 0.2 penny per stream. And this is only for Spotify, and it's broken down, like, it's crazy, the level of detail. You can see per song, how much you made, and you can just scroll down this list and look at all your streams for whatever you want, and then see the grand total. So for Spotify, in April 2019, I made like $16. Oh my God, there's separate pages, Jesus. Anyways, it's crazy, and it's just very transparent, which I like. I don't know what other stores do, because again, DistroKid's the only service I actually used. So there is a stats page. Now, if you haven't set this up before, DistroKid allows you to get a Spotify for artists and also a Apple Music beta account. I'm not sure if you actually need a distributor anymore to do those, because I know services have been a little more open with letting artists apply. But at the time when I did it, I couldn't just go out and get a Spotify for Artist account. I had to actually get it through DistroKid. So I don't know what the rules are now, but just so you know, if you get DistroKid, you are safe and you can make a Spotify for Artist account, which is just a way to see your streaming results pretty much live or on like a day delay kind of basis. So you can see for Spotify for Artists, just pulling the data, and you can get access. But for the last 365 days, it shows like the number of streams I've gotten, and then like the last 7 days, yesterday kind of thing. Then it shows you, oh geez, that was a spike. It shows you results for Spotify. Now, if you want to see these results for different places, it does have different data here, but it's not for every single store, and it's not really like pulled from DistroKid. It's pulled from these extra sites that you can sign up for, like Spotify for Artists and Apple Music, which is another account that you have to get. Now, this Teams page is something I haven't explored, because I typically do everything myself, or I just handle it on a more like personal basis, just like kind of with the people directly. But if you have a big team of people and maybe you don't necessarily know each other that well, so there's not as much trust, you can actually just set up ways to handle this. DistroKid just includes it free with your plan. Again, this may or may not be something that is on every single plan in DistroKid. I don't know, because I have the label plan. But just look it up, and I'll correct myself on screen if I can find any data on that. But you can just pick a release, and then you can actually set up a system to actually just automate payments for different people on your team. Or if you're doing like a collaboration release, that's how you can handle payments to different artists or producers or whatever that are featuring on your track. So I think I've done enough talking about DistroKid. If you're interested, there's a link in the description where you can save 7% off of your subscription, and you'll also be giving me $5 if you sign up. So it's a way to support the channel and get your music on the stores for starting at only $19.99 per year, which is so cheap that I am just amazed that anyone still only uses SoundCloud, because it's essentially free. So yeah, if you're interested, click that link in the description. I highly recommend it. Again, here's the proof. I use it for all of my music, and I think you should too. So if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, consider subscribing for more. Be on the lookout for my new single coming the 18th and my album coming on the 25th. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye.